and to come up with, Ole was always this guy that preached reality, right?
Yep.
This guy sucks. This guy sucks. He came up with the Black Scorpion.
Yes. Yes.
He was doing the voice. He didn't know where he was actually going with that. And he actually didn't know who was going to be under the mask. So,
Wow. So he's saying stuff like this guy's from Sting's past, kind of teasing Ultimate Warrior stuff. Like everything was kind of Warrior related, and they had no idea where it was going in an end game. He just was like teasing stuff that wasn't even viable.
yeah. And then then when they went to St. Louis with that match, wasn't Rick the.
Yeah, it's Starcade. That was the end. It was Flair. Yeah, which didn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
no, no. I mean,
And at one point it was Al Perez. At one point it
yeah,
was another guy. Yeah, it was.
yeah. This was a pay per view from St. Louis, right?
Yep.
Okay. It's a wrestling town. Rick was over in St. Louis big time, because he was the NWA champion. He had wrestled Brody a couple of hours. He had wrestled O'Connor. He had wrestled Jack Briscoe. I believe he wrestled Fritz von Erich. I think he wrestled David von Erich there. Where I'm going with this is he was a huge draw in St. Louis. Why wouldn't you announce Flair versus Sting and then the Scorpion, whoever it was going to be? Al Perez would have been a good Scorpion. Al Perez underneath that against, let's say, Barry Windham was a babyface at the time. Am I correct?
At this point, no, I think Wyndham is a heel here in 1990.
Okay, so maybe a Brian Pillman. Brian was a babyface then, wasn't he?
Yep.
Brian and Al would have had an incredible match. You could figure out what you were going to do after when you should know what you're going to do, but with a unknown commodity like the Black Scorpion, you'd have to see. I would think that you'd have to put them in different towns because people react different wear a mask if you never wore a mask. It's very difficult. I wore one once when I wrestled Dusty. But wouldn't it have been better if it was Flair versus Sting?
You would think for the the big Starcade, if you will, the big pay per view,
Yeah.
yes, and not have Black Scorpion, who it didn't make sense that it was Flair anyway, though. Like the way they were building it had made no sense. Sure, Flair was the top heel and they had the Four Horsemen stuff, but it just didn't make sense as far as like why Flair would be under the hood and
Yeah.
doing that stuff. And he's a magician and all this other stuff. Doesn't make sense.
And not only that, Rick is over in St. Louis. He sold St. Louis out a lot. You're taking a chance. Some people might not have thought it was Rick or whatever, but Rick should have wrestled Sting as Ric Flair. Rick was still the world champion at the time, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you take away a world championship match? Ole always was talking about reality. I just don't know where he was going with that.